You got clones? Oh my god, so you're so
Canceled. Wait, stop your Reddit posts. Stop everything. Stop trying to cancel me. These are not clones. They are officially authorized. We'll talk about that in just a second. Howdy, hey, I'm Hipyo, and today I'm looking at the Zoom 65. It's a very interesting video though, because I'm building a keyboard. I'm building it in two different ways. It's going to sound amazing, and I'm also looking at keycaps that are not fake. Oh yeah, did I mention the switches aren't lubed? That's pretty cool. So if you happen to stumble upon this video and you have no idea what custom keyboards are, stick around, I'll explain everything. But first, let me just open these boxes that I'm not going to mention for the rest of the video. Now that I finished that, this video is sponsored by Wuche Studios, who sent out this keyboard for free. Now, I wasn't told anything to say about this keyboard, but they did give me a build guide, which was nice. Usually people don't. All of my thoughts are my own. I don't need to stay allegiant to a sponsor. If I dislike the board, I dislike the board. So the Zoom 65 was incredibly special in that it shipped as a full keyboard kit, meaning the keycaps are included, and yes, even these keycaps, which are Olivia clones, but they're official Olivia clones. They're authorized. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. They're official. But yeah, it came as a full kit with keycaps and switches and all of these foams, which, dear God, this is like my dream and my nightmare to install. Speaking of nightmares, I'm having nightmares about 73% of you only being subscribed, so please solve that by hitting the subscribe button down below if you enjoy my terrible witty banter. Speaking of terrible, here I am abusing this case by knocking on it. Don't worry, no cases were actually harmed. He's kind of into it. Now that we've got him warmed up, we're just going to open him up and reveal more accessories. Holy. So this kit of the Zoom 65 has already sold out as far as I'm aware, but they are doing the Essentials edition pretty soon. I think it's actually selling right now. You can check it out in the description, which is just the bare bones keyboard without the keycaps or switches, and it's cheaper at only $160 US. So that puts it kind of at that mid-range beginner board, but it's so much more than that, which we'll find out soon. Also, yeah, it's a knob. There's a knob. Speaking of more excitement, check out this hot swap PCB with flex cuts. Yum. And this plate with flex cuts. Speaking of not yum, here's a boring coiled cable. Now we interrupt this video for Hipyo unboxing a random thing that came in bubble wrap literally as he was filming this video. It just arrived and here it is. Look at it go. It's unwrapping and yes, it's a brass infill weight. And we're going to be building the keyboard with this. And let me lube the stabilizers and forget about it. So if you're watching this video, you're either here because of the memes, here because I'm looking at possibly cloned but not cloned keycaps, or here because the Zoom 65 is on sale. Those are all valid reasons. You're so valid. Look at you go. As I mentioned before, the Essentials Edition is on sale until April 20th. At $160 for just the case and PCB and plate, that's a pretty spicy value. However, I do think this fully built kit was probably a better value. Now, there's a whole bunch of different add-ons and who's-its and whatnots, and I'm not going to take a look at all of that. I'm just going to kind of take a look at what we have here. That way you can figure out if this is the right purchase for you, or if you're bored and just need a friend. Here I am. Hi, friend. Now, this keyboard is pretty, and it's got a very interesting paint coat finish. It's like rough, almost like sandpapery, but quite nice in practice. My first impression was it looked tacky, but then it definitely warmed up on me over time. Like this, this in purple. Mwah. Now, I'm not here to waste your time, so I'm jumping straight into it with this first set of foam on the PCB. I'm going to be using most of what they included here, that way I can give you the best, like, modded out experience of this board. Oh, and also the stabilizers were lubed and installed, there you go. And next we're moving on to the plate, which is a little bit complicated, so just stick around here. Oh, did I say the plate was complicated? I literally just meant removing it from the bag was complicated. I have dexterity issues, thank you. But it does have a bunch of flex cuts and these weird little hangy flaps, and we're gonna look at those soon. Normally, I don't install standoffs, and that's why I'm so bad at installing them here. Look, this is literally me struggling for a solid 30 seconds to install one standoff before I realize it's way easier to install them if you just use the Allen key. Why do I put myself through this torment? Well, for you. For you. Anyways, this is going to make the build overall more stiff, but I also just didn't want the trouble of installing switches without them, so there you go. Yeah, and there I am with a brain cell learning that they're way easier to install if you just use the Allen key, so use the Allen key. Anyways, I put the layer of foam between the plate and PCB and then sandwiched them together, and then I just have to screw it in from the back with my WOW stick. Wow, link in the bottom left, click it. Wow. Speaking of wow, these switches. Wow, those aren't pandas. Those aren't, no holy pandas here, no drop pandas. These are JWICs, and they are nuts. Now, I couldn't find this exact model online to put as an affiliate link down below, but I'll put something similar enough. If you know the exact switch, then leave a comment. They didn't really tell me. But what I do know is that these came factory lubed and were incredibly smooth stock. So much so that I won't be lubing them and this keyboard will sound very good. If you're new to keyboards, we lube switches with switch lube to make them smoother and sound better. Next, I install the switches into the hot swap sockets by using some magic that has a delay on it. And then I make sure to leave a very specific amount of switches free. That way when the gremlin visits, he doesn't take those away. No, it's actually because you can't screw in the screws if you put switches in those, so they're unswitched. I then installed the rubber feet in a moment of haze that I forgot to record. And then I unscrew the case from itself. Yeah, the case is cased into itself, screwed into itself. I'm having trouble here. Okay, I'm back. I took a 5-minute break from recording this voiceover. So after separating the top and bottom case, we see these cute little divots. Look at them go, they're so cute. I'm just gonna use my little good boy tweezers and place these gasket foams into those divots. This took substantially longer than expected because of glue. Speaking of glue, let's deal with some more of that and get these other case foams out and ready to go into the case. Now, here's the point where if you're following along at home, you could not put the case foam in and you would get a different sound out of your keyboard. However, I like more muted, foamy sounds. I think they're quite delicious. So I am going to be putting the foam in. If you have a problem with that, don't tell me about it. Also, that foam that I flashed very briefly, I also installed that. That was way too hard to get filmed on camera because it was so sticky and stuck to itself all the time. And then, yeah. Now, similar to a man that just hit a beehive with a baseball bat, we are going to get this screwed. Or, sorry, I need to put a couple switches in first, and then magic screw time. Now, I screwed this in off camera, so there you go, we're just cleaning up our workspace. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, it's the clone keycaps that I was talking about earlier. Now, let me clarify, these are not actually clones in the sense of being unauthorized. They say they're authorized on the website, and I asked the guys at WuChe about these, and they have proof of getting them officially authorized from Olivia. Now, if you don't know, this keycap set is based on GMK Olivia. So essentially, they got her permission and approval to sell these in an authorized way, but they are essentially just cloned double shot PBT Olivia clones. So it's a bit of an interesting one. They're definitely 100% ethical in that she said they could sell them, but they were still made by the people that weren't supposed to be making them in the first place. I'm having some trouble. Oh, no, God. So these are double shot PBT Olivia authorized clones. If you bought the normal version of the Zoom 65, they came free. I think generally they're like a $30 set of keycaps. Now, I've actually had a set of these clones in the past for science purposes, and these seem slightly better, but they've still got the same shift with the space between the F and the T, which makes me know that it's the same molds. Previous clones I've seen from this factory had a lot of broken stems, and this didn't seem to have many at all, maybe one or two. Anyways, with a little bit of magic, they are now on my keyboard, and I am now ready to show you it after installing the knob. So do these keycaps look as good as GMK Olivia? No. Are they significantly cheaper when factoring in the cost of this keyboard? Yes, the whole entire keyboard build would be less than buying a set on aftermarket. That's way cheaper. Now, I know a lot of you are going to go into my comment section and start writing really vicious comments about whether or not you support clones or hate clones, and I really don't care about your opinions, so please actually leave them down there. It increases engagement, but I might delete them if they're mean. Don't be mean. But this isn't about clones. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, you've built the keyboard. What are you doing? Why are you taking it apart? Hipyo, no. Hipyo, no. No. Why are you going insane? Please stop. Well, you know, similar to a dog playing catch, I just had so much fun that I needed to do it one more time, and then another time, and then another time. No, but remember we said we were installing the brass weight? So just don't worry, off camera, I've got the sound test portion filmed, and now I'm installing the brass weight, and I'm gonna do a really fancy side-by-side comparison in just a minute. Now, this brass weight is roughly $50 more, and you're probably thinking, why would you spend $50 for a chunk of metal to put in your keyboard? And I guess that's what the before and after sound tests are going to be for. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. That's just my take. I don't think the brass weight is worth it. But if you like that more metallic sound, then it will be better for you. Also, I forgot to show you the gasket performance, but let me kind of talk about that right now. The gasket performance is not really there with this configuration. If you didn't put any of the foam in, I imagine you would get a little bit more flex. But with all of the foam in there, or with a little bit of foam and the brass weight, here's the flex you get. It's not much at all, but it's also not a harsh bottom out. So it's better than a cheap board mounting wise, but not better than some. Sorry guys. That's my humidifier. And now the board is done. My overall thoughts of this thing, I mean, these are sponsored thoughts, so take them with a grain of salt, even though they didn't tell me what to say, is this keyboard is really good. If you can get it for retail, you will not go wrong with it. There were a couple quirks, and I'm not sure if those were prototyping quirks or not, but overall, I'm quite happy. Now, if you like this style of video, all I ask is that you leave a subscription or make a commenting, and make sure you also do the like. Also, watch some of my other videos. I have so many, and also finish watching this video, watch the whole sound test, please.